Bine ați venit la partea 18 în care o să fie un mare push. Facem Archon Quest Sumeru Actul 3 și 4. Le facem unul după altul. O să fie mai puțină vorbărie din partea mea pentru că e mult de făcut și de condensat. O să pun comentarii în scris dacă e cazul, însă aș vrea pe cât posibil să nu întrerup povestea. O să ajungem și până Deshret. O să vedeți, o să fie foarte frumos. No, hai cu quest-ul.
Let's continue our chat here. Okay, so do you have any ideas on how we can investigate the sages, Nahida? Actually, I already have someone in mind. Do you still remember that female scholar named Sataria? Sataria! Paimon remembers now! We ran into her basically every time the Sumeru festival repeated itself. You could even say we're old enemies by now. So, was that everybody? Mm-hmm. 3 familiar faces should be enough for Sataria. What's the point of all the information we've collected? Nahida, you still haven't told us how you're planning to make Sataria face her problems. Sataria is already used to avoiding her problems, so we must find a way to break through her usual sensibilities. I remember you mentioned that the Eremites in Port Ormuz are all making a fuss about the upcoming resurrection of King Deshret. Although it's all just a boatload of nonsense, the fate of her homeland may turn out to be Sataria's soft spot. Oh, Paimon gets it now! You want to take advantage of the guilt Sataria feels about her homeland. Although she knows she should return home to help the people of the desert, all she's done is conspire with the sages. So, how do we set that up? Well, King Deshret is long gone, and Sataria is also too smart to fall for any simple tricks. If we simply engaged her under the guise of King Deshret's believers, she would definitely be wary of us. But if we were to borrow some of her close acquaintances to talk with her, her reaction would probably be very different. So, you mean you're going to possess those people we just talked to? Yep. Possess them through the Akasha. Imply they've already converted to the faith of King Deshret, and then convey our made-up will of King Deshret. As long as everything goes smoothly, we'll get through to Sataria for sure. So that's how you're going to use all the info we collected on these people. It's so that you won't slip up and break form. But exactly. So, best of luck with impersonating them. Huh? Best of luck? But we don't know how to possess anyone. That's no problem at all. I'll just share all their senses with you once I've possessed them. As long as you're also wearing an Akasha terminal, the effect will basically be as if you've possessed them yourself. Huh. That is pretty convenient. Although I've been observing humans for a while, I've never been good at imitating them. Sataria's here! Let's quietly follow her. Once she starts talking to her acquaintances, we'll find a safe spot to begin possessing them. As for how we'll sway her to our side, I'll leave that to you. Paimon's starting to feel kinda nervous. Okay, let's go. Looks like they've already started talking. Let's find a hiding spot and get started.
That's right. You really can't force anything when it comes to love. And besides, everyone around me has a very different background and outlook. Are you still listening to me, Nabia?
Oh, of course I'm listening. You were talking about troubles with your love life, right?
Okay then. You just seemed a little distracted for a moment there. Strange. Your cats seem pretty worked up. Is something wrong? I always thought they were quiet, happy kitties. Oh, what are their names again? That's right. They are just little darlings, aren't they? Harut and Marut.
Ahem. So, which fortune do you want me to read for you today? You must have come for another echo of the divine voice of wisdom.
I'd like to get another reading on my love prospects, but to be perfectly honest with you, I feel like I've been a real mess recently.
A mess?
Well, could you do a reading on how long it'll take me to finish my current project at work?
I hear you. No problem at all. The gods will reveal the truth.
Sorry, your new laugh is just so hilarious.
Oh, please pay no mind to those kinds of details. The gods are asking. Sataria, why haven't you gone home?
Why haven't I gone home? Do the gods really know everything I've been thinking about?
Sataria, why don't you just go home? It's a demand now instead of a question. The gods seem to be truly upset.
I'm sorry. I know I failed the gods. Please pass on my most sincere apologies. And, if I may ask, Nabia, is there a specific god who's speaking to you right now?
What an inconsiderate and naive question. The god who is speaking to me is, of course, the wisest and mightiest of all, King Deshret.
King Deshret? No wonder he would make such demand of me. Wait a second. King Deshret passed away a long time ago. Even though news of King Deshret's resurrection has been spreading like wildfire, it's all just a misinformation campaign from the academia.
What insolence! I am King Deshret's most loyal believer. Do you wish to refute his voice of wisdom?
Oh, no. As a child of the desert, I am only reveling in his power upon learning that his divine glory has touched even this city. I will think very carefully about his demand of me. I'm sorry. I must go now.
Wait!
Oh, she just ran off in a hurry. She looked pretty upset, too. Well done. Sataria didn't seem to suspect anything amiss. To have something she's been trying desperately to avoid show up out of nowhere and berate her, that must have shaken her to the core. Aw, Nahida, it seems like you understand human emotions really well after all. All I know are some abstract Harabatot theories. And in any case, my time with you has shown a lot of them to be utterly useless. Anyway, enough of that. Let's hurry and catch up to Sataria. She's out of Keem's now, right on cue. Let's get ready to possess him right away!
It's okay. I just got caught up in something. Oh, actually, didn't you ask me to help you look for work? What, gardening? But don't you hate everything to do with plants?
You see, a friend told me that the secret to self-improvement is to work on things you're not so good.
Fair enough. I didn't think that was something you would consider. Speaking of, how's he doing? Is he feeling any better? Huh? Wasn't he nursing a leg injury? If I recall...
He sprained his arm a while back. Well,
Actually, while we're talking about him, is he still living in Port...
yeah, he's been retired there for a while.
If you could find the time, please write him a letter. Let him know that recently, faith in King Deshret has taken root in Port Ormos. He has a quick temper, and has always been a devout follower of the Dendro Archon. I don't want him to get into a fight with those King Deshret believers because of a difference in beliefs.
Oh? So, who are you siding with in all of this? The Academia or King Deshret? I'm so jealous of you. You were born a child of the desert, yet you chose to betray King Deshret, and now you spend all your time with those crooks from the Academia.
Akeem, you don't mean... You've also become a believer of King Deshret?
What's so strange about becoming a believer of the wise King Deshret? In fact, aren't you the strange one? The one who still can't pick a side?
Can't pick a side? Me?
Whoa! Paimon had no idea you'd be so good at this! You really zeroed in on the issue and put it right in front of her. But once everything is over, I'll be sure to pay her a visit to her mind and explain everything. Anyway, let's keep going. Come on! Sataria's on...
So, Shishan, have you noticed anything weird in the city lately? Like, as if someone was trying to preach to you about something?
Oh, right. Speaking of strange things, I celebrated the Sub-Zerus festival so many times that I lost count. That was really weird.
Wait, how could you be aware of that? That should be impossible. Nothing in the report indicated anything like that.
Are you still failing to realize that the Academia's lowly tricks could never deceive all of Sumeru's citizens?
Shishan, don't tell me that you've converted to King Deshret as well.
What an absurd question. You make it sound like I should be ashamed for becoming a believer of King Deshret. In reality, shouldn't you be the one who is ashamed? You, who worked side by side with the Academia, and treated people as nothing more than experimental subjects?
Please, please stop!
Even now, Sataria's still trying to run from her problems. She can no longer justify everything to herself. Hey, she's trying to talk to the guards! What should we do? This is the most important part of all. Quick, get ready.
Mercenary, you're a member of the Corps of 30, correct? Please help me pass a message to the Matcha right away. The situation in the city is getting out of control.
Please, try to remain calm, miss. Tell me what's happening in the city.
Heretics are infiltrating the city, and they've already converted many residents to their side.
Heretics? What kind of heresy are you talking about?
King Deshret! Many people I know have suddenly started believing in him, but he's long dead. It's impossible.
Miss Sataria, nothing is impossible.
You know my name?
King Deshret is immortal, and all who defy him will one day pay the price. You must face the truth, Sataria. You tread a treacherous path, and the longer you ignore it, the tighter the Academia's grasp on you will become. Child of King Deshret, never forget that the desert that belongs to you lies elsewhere.
What's so strange about becoming a believer of the wise King Deshret? In fact, aren't you the strange one? The one who still can't pick a side?
What an absurd question. You make it sound like I should be ashamed for becoming a believer of King Deshret.
Sataria, why haven't you gone home?
It seems that no matter where I run, I only keep finding more believers of King Deshret. I have to say, this is a familiar feeling. I've also been running from my guilt this whole time. Guilt over my part in the Sage's plans, and from ignoring the letters from the children of my homeland. But no matter how much I may try to ignore or get rid of it, my guilt always comes back.
You won't necessarily lose your research opportunities by facing the truth.
How do you know me so well? Are you truly just a believer of King Deshret? Or are you the god himself?
That's not important. The important thing is to pass judgment on the academia and its sages, and to correct their mistakes. If you could provide some assistance in this matter, perhaps it could serve as a form of atonement.
I've actually never believed in the gods, but I've always believed in serendipity. Your appearance must be a fated opportunity for me to get out of this wretched situation. Please tell me, what can I do for you?
How much do you know about the sage's current activities?
I was just one of the designers for the massed dream harvest scheme, which is what happened around the Sub-Zeru's festival. But I know very little about the full scope of the overall project. I'd assume that only staff with the highest clearance would have access to those confidential documents. I've just been working to meet the Grand Sage's specified requirements. However, there's something that's been really bothering me. I heard that a scholar who was previously expelled has returned to the city, and even the sages are still quite wary of him.
To fight against the academia, we will need to figure out the nature and the purpose of their work. Is there a way for us to get access to the confidential documents you mentioned?
It should be possible if we're willing to take some risks. After all, I'm an assistant to the Grand Sage, and I've been working on many tasks outside of the project. One thing, though, I won't be able to transfer the documents to you through the Akasha once I get my hands on them. The sages have always closely monitored all activities within the Akasha. Let me see... let's use the most primitive method. Send someone to pick up the documents tomorrow evening at the Academia entrance.
The Academia entrance. Wouldn't that be too conspicuous?
Don't worry about that. I assure you, this won't be a trap. I'm only suggesting this location because it'll draw more scrutiny for me to leave the Academia again. It'll be safest for me to distract the guards long enough to hand you the documents.
All right, I trust you.
So, if I were to successfully complete this task, would it mean I've atoned for my wrongdoings?
That'll depend on the judgment of the Dendro Archon.
The Dendro Archon. That's right. Her people are the ones we have endangered. Maybe it's time for me to find a god to believe in.
Just as Nahida predicted, we've managed to bring Sataria to our side! What are all these people doing here at this hour of the night?
Ah, the triumphant hero returns at last. And to a rather spectacular welcome, even if I do say so myself.
You're the outcast, expelled from the Academia.
Indeed I am. Although these days they tend to call me the Doctor. If you're looking for your researcher friend, she has already been taken into confinement. With some basic caution, she could have discovered the listening device on her person. Clearly, she lacks the degree of rigor expected of a true scholar.
The people of Sumeru City. What have you done to them?
I simply made some minor adjustments to their Akasha terminals. Now they can deposit information directly into the subconscious. As you can see, all these lovely people now believe this traveler is a hero who has just saved the world. My experiment is a success. And now it seems they can no longer hold back their sheer adoration.
Oh no, what should we do? These are all just regular people. Leave now. You need to get out of here. What? That guy's a Fatui Harbinger! We can't just leave you here! Nor can I abandon the people of Sumeru!
You appear to have overridden their mental faculties with your own consciousness. To possess such a powerful mind, you must be the God of Wisdom.
This should be far enough. Paimon, is Nahida going to be okay? We only made it out because of her. Paimon wasn't counting on running into a new Harbinger here, let alone such a high-ranking one. He called himself the Doctor. Remember, Tighnari told us about him. Sataria did say that someone who once got expelled from the Academia came back recently, and that even the sages are wary of him. Yep, sounds like she must have been talking about the Doctor. Yeah, now that the Doctor's in the picture, we're no longer just dealing with the Academia. They're in cahoots with the Fatui. But what are the Fatui after this time? Another Gnosis? Yeah, things would be a lot easier with Nahida's help. Nahida said we'll meet again outside of the city. But we can't just keep waiting around. You mean... Oh, right! Wasn't he invited by the sages to work on some project when we... Even though he turned it down, there's no time to lose. Let's go to Gandharvaville.
Hold it right there. A blonde-haired traveler and a floating fairy. We've got you, all right. Take a look around. You've fallen right into our trap.
Are you mercenaries from the Corps of 30?
Corps of 30? We're nothing like those government lapdogs. We are an elite brigade that commands the highest commission rate in all of Sumeru.
The outcast? An outcast from the Academia? But why wouldn't the Doctor just send the Fatui after us?
Still wasting time on idle chit-chat. We'll shut you up soon enough. Get the...
You're up, Traveler!
Following orders. A new punch bag. Dodge this. Need that. Oh, so sorry. I'll take a new punching bag.
Nice and spicy!
I'll keep freeze.
It isn't over yet! Here comes reinforcements! Gloria! You're That was pretty rough. Is that what elite mercenaries are like? Yeah, looks like we'll have to keep our guards up. But this doctor guy seems like a pretty tough opponent. He knew exactly where to set up an ambush. Going up against smart people is tough. Traveler and Paimon. Kale! It's nice to see you again. To be honest, I'm not doing too well. My Elazar has been progressing at a faster rate lately. As a result, Master Tighnari is taking me off the patrol schedule. He will only allow me to stay here and coordinate other people's tasks. Oh, Kale! Speaking of Tighnari, did he go off on patrol? We're here to talk to him. Oh, Master Tighnari? You just left the Avidia Forest a little while ago. Wait! Look who it is! Thank goodness you're okay. We were so worried about you. Hey! This was supposed to be a touching reunion, but you're ruining the moment! Actually, it's very smart of the Traveler to be wary of me right now. After all, the Doctor has shown that his technology can apparently even control human minds. Plus, it's not like you could have known what happened after we split up and I was facing the Doctor by myself. Even a pool of stagnant water after a torrential storm can occasionally pass as a patch of sky.
Paimon feels like only the real Nahida could come up with such an obscure analogy.
Huh? But I wasn't trying to win your trust or anything. All I wanted was to clarify my point.
Well, we understand that point now. Please, Nahida, tell us more about what happened. Are those poor people all right?
When you left, I was still in the middle of restoring everyone's minds. Thankfully, when the Doctor mentioned depositing information into the subconscious, he didn't mean engraving information into their minds. Instead, he did something closer to creating hallucinations. That was still within my power to fix. Luckily, I managed to finish my restorations and mind jump away from him just as he was about to capture me.
Whew. What a relief. The Doctor sure pulled out some hidden cards, but good thing we had Nahida with us.
I wouldn't be relieved just yet. I gave away my true identity when I restored everyone's minds, which means we've lost another one of our trump cards. Also, the Doctor is already an expert at modifying Akasha terminals.
Would that mean you'd no longer be able to jump between minds? Then, how do we stop him? Ugh, it feels like he's toying with us. What a nasty piece of work. Plus, the Doctor's combat ability alone is apparently enough to make him worthy of being number 2 of the Fatui.
We shouldn't give up hope just yet. Let's try to find another way to attack this problem.
Actually, Nahida, how did you know we were trying to get to Party's Dei?
Yes, I have. I can see the Traveler's elemental energy, so I deduced your destination by looking at the direction you were moving in. You didn't come here for sightseeing, right? Did you find any leads?
We're looking for a scholar we know. His name is Tainari, and the sages once tried to reach out to him. Why don't you come inside with us and see what we can find?
Okay, let's just hope we won't get him into trouble.
Traveler? It is you!
Ah, it's Hypatia!
What a pleasant surprise!
We're using that incense again?
All right now. Hold my hand. I'll help you establish a pathway to connect your consciousness.
Okay.
Ready?
It took 3 betrayals for me to finally understand. The world is just an elaborate tapestry of lies. My fury will never be quelled. The first to betray me was a god. My creator. My mother. Valuing strength above all, she saw no worth in me and I was discarded. The second was a human. My family. My friend. Consumed by fear, he saw me as an abomination. The third was one exactly like me. A hope for the future. A fledgling barely out of the nest. Powerless before his mortality, he broke his promise to me. Humans, they can't be trusted. And the gods fill me with pure loathing. So I said good riddance. I denounce the world and laugh in its face. My chest will never again be defiled by worldly filth. I will scrub away every last trace of human emotion. Then it will be empty, a blank slate, and ready to receive a supreme gnosis, brimming with pure divinity. There is no need to fear. The pain will be brief. Your era is coming to an end.
What was that? Did we actually just see the Balladier's memories? Everything matches what we know about him. But how is he connected to the divine consciousness that Hypatia was talking about?
You saw it, right? You felt it, right? Such a majestic god! Such a noble will! Such sublime emotion! Alas, shame. If only that which beats within my chest wasn't a filthy mortal heart. Oh, great and merciful God! Please grant me forgiveness and salvation!
Do you understand now? I'm afraid this is no Puripurna life, but rather...
Ah! You! Why are you so mean to me? Why is everyone hiding from me? I found divine wisdom.
Hypatia?
That's how I always thought everything should be. Wait. Have I already lost my mind?
Wait, something isn't right. Okay, we finally lost him. Are you okay, Nahida? Wait, no. Something feels different. You're back!
Oh, the Traveler's back?
Nahida was controlling your body for a while. It seemed like she jumped over to you as an emergency measure right before the Catherine puppet was destroyed. After that, Tainari heard the commotion and came over. He helped us defeat the mercenaries and then he ran with us all the way here. What? You swapped places? You mean your consciousness also went into Nahida's body? Wait, then where is Nahida's consciousness? Where is she now?
I never imagined that an individual's consciousness could be transferred around like this. Had I not seen it with my own eyes, I would have never believed it. Also, while we were running, the consciousness in your body told me to pass on a message. She said, "The doctor has found a way to trap my consciousness, so I can't journey with you anymore. But even in a moonless night, a shower of starlight can still drown out illusions and lies."
Oh no! Nahida's is trapped in the sanctuary of Surasthana for good this time. Was that message all she left for us? It's pretty vague. Oh, that makes sense. Since the doctor captured her, she won't be able to say anything without him knowing. She's being extra careful. Even in a moonless night, a shower of starlight can still drown out illusions and lies. Huh. Paimon knows the moon illusions and lies are from the alchemical divination at the Sub-Zero's festival. Didn't Nahida use a starlight analogy before? It had something to do with Sataria. Oh, but she isn't with us anymore. Think we'll be okay?
Paimon, you said Sanctuary of Surasthana, correct? Does this mean that this Nahida you're talking about, the consciousness who was occupying the traveler's body, is the Dendro Archon?
Your guess is correct, but the situation's a bit complicated, so it's really hard for us to explain right now.
That's all right. A scholar's curiosity doesn't need to be appeased right away. As for the complicated nature of the situation, safe to say I have witnessed that for myself. I've spent some time with you, and it looks like the Dendro Archon's also on your side. So, I trust you.
Thank you, Tainari. Oh, actually, we came here to ask you a question. What do you know about the project that the sages have been working on?
Ah, that. While I was indeed invited to join that project, the sages were always secretive about its scope and goals. All I know is that the project has something to do with the restoration of Irminsul.
Huh? Did you see something when you were in Nahida's body? What?
Do you have any evidence? So that's what happened. That explains why Hypatia's symptoms were different from those of the other scholars who went mad.
Tainari, did you leave the Avidia Forest because of Hypatia?
I did. I noticed Hypatia's mental anomalies, but since her symptoms were rather atypical, I secretly took her to Pardis DI. If I didn't take action, Hypatia would have already been taken by the Matra to the desert, doomed to a life of exile at Aru village. Now that you mention it, I knew the Academia has never thought particularly highly of Lesser Lord Kusanali, but I still didn't expect them to do something as arrogant as creating a new god. The Doctor and the Balladeer. We have 2 Fatui Harbingers in Sumeru. Sounds like we're in for a bad time. From your description, I don't think they've completed their project. There may still be room for us to intervene, but then, what is the connection between creating a new god and restoring Irminsul?
Yeah, it feels like we're still nowhere close to figuring out the sage's goals. Right, we've pretty much gone over everything we need to know, so we should head out. How about you, Tainari? What are you going to do?
I'll stay here for now. I still want to try a few more things to help Hypatia. If you're planning to go into the desert, start by heading for Caravan Ribat. That'll be your fastest route. Come find me here if there's anything else I can do to help.
Thanks, Tainari. Hopefully Hypatia will feel better soon.
What's the hurry?
We finally made it to Caravan Ribat. It's pretty lively here. So, just past this wall is the desert, huh? Oh, wow. Paimon remembers hearing people call this the Wall of Samiel. It's made to block sandstorms from the outside. Oh, if it...
Enough gawking. Come on, follow me.
Huh?
Over here.
Oh, Hatham went that way! Let's hurry up and follow him. Wonder what he's up to.
Recommend going there.
What the... Where did he go? How did we lose him?
More Aramite mercenaries? Who are they working for this time? Anyway, Traveler, it seems like we were being followed again.
You were too careless. You should have noticed those hopeless amateurs trailing you a long time ago. There's no need to thank me. I've never cared to keep track of personal favors. All I did was correct a mistake I happened to come across. It's a habit I developed at the
You really gave Paimon a scare, Alhaitham. We never thought we'd run into you here. Last time we met at Port Ormos, didn't you say you were going back to the Academia?
Oh, so you've already landed yourselves on the Academia's hit list. I can't say that I didn't expect it. However, had I wished to turn you over to the Academia, don't you think you'd already be the Eremites' honored guests by now?
Oh, right. You do have a point.
No matter. Rather than simply learning the answers from you, I'd still prefer to investigate on my own.
That's right. We have the same plan as you. But we don't really have any concrete goals at the moment.
Then I'd suggest starting with Aru Village. It's the largest settlement in the desert, so it'll probably have more resources and intel than anywhere else. Well, would you like to head there together?
It's always better to travel with someone you know. Let's go!
Before us lies Aru Village, the safe haven of the desert folk.
Whoa, this landscape is really something else. What a... Wow!
Sino. Unless my memory fails me, we have barely spoken 2 words to each other before now at the Academia.
Oh, Hatham. Do not think you can escape my judgment just because you managed to escape my attack.
Judgment? So that's how you'd characterize your actions here, is it?
Had I used my full strength, not even this traveler would have been able to stop me. Though styled like an assassination, I sought only to ensure that my target would be unable to flee or resist. Standard practice for the Matra, as well you know.
Seemed to me more like your own personal touch.
Who is that, Alhaitham? Did you call him General Mahamatra?
Yes. General Mahamatra Sino, head of all the Matra at the Academia.
You seem to have placed a lot of trust in Alhaitham, to the point of blocking an attack for him. If I were you, I'd never choose to side with him. I wouldn't believe a single word that comes out of his mouth. I have been pursuing this scribe for a long time.
Has Alhaitham done something wrong? Paimon doesn't think he's as bad as you've made him out to be.
I won't waste my breath explaining things. Alhaitham, I saw it during our fight. Take it out. The divine knowledge capsule you're hiding on your person. Unless you want me to retrieve it for myself.
Very perceptive of you. Nothing escapes a Matra's senses.
Wait, the Divine Knowledge Capsule? Didn't it fall into the Matra's hands in Port Ormos?
No wonder you speak with such confidence, Sino. But I must admit, I'm very curious. What does this capsule mean to you? And why, as General Mahamatra of the Academia, are you all alone in the desert? As far as I'm aware, the other Matra have been speculating about your disappearance. Have you been given a mission that's, let's say, morally dubious? If I was the real target of your mission, what was stopping you from simply using your authority and resources to judge me within the walls of the Academia?
I should have known you'd be difficult to deal with.
You two? Ugh! What you would do, Traveler? Paimon feels like we can't trust either of them.
Ahem. Well, look at you two, acting all tough and self-righteous over there.
Wait, Dia? Great! Finally, someone that we can trust! You gotta help us out here, otherwise these two are gonna start fighting again!
Yeah, sure looks that way. Two giants from the Academia duking it out once and for all. Not something you get to see every day, that's for sure. Listen, I know you academic types love to fill up your big brains with self-righteous morality and lord your empty rules and virtues over each other. But how dare you bring your petty disputes into the safe haven of Aru Village? It seems like someone's gonna have to beat some sense into your thick skulls until you finally learn to respect these grounds. Hey, did either of you hear a word I just said?
Whoa, what's going on? The wind's so strong! Is this a sandstorm?
Another sandstorm? What's up with these recently?
Hey! All of you, over here, quickly! We have to take cover!
Someone's calling for us! Oh, this wind is too strong! Let's get over there!
That sounded like Candace. Come on, you two. Jeez, are all of you Academia folks such hard work? Move it!
All right, stop yelling.
Well, this is pretty awkward. Hey, wanna play sardines with three people who wanna tear each other limb from limb? Sure, why not? Sounds fun. The air is so thick and heavy. Paimon can hardly keep floating anymore.
My sincere apologies, everyone. This is the home of our village chief. I will have to ask you to make do with this small room until the sandstorm dies down. Please, let me introduce myself. I am Candace, protector of Aru Village.
Our savior has come at last! Nice to meet you, Candace. The name's Paimon. Thank you so much for helping us.
There's no need to thank me. It's only right to help each other when the weather gets rough.
Wow, she's so gentle and caring, like a nice older sister. Unlike those guys over there.
All right. Now that we're all better acquainted, we should return to the topic at hand. As a guardian charged with the responsibility to protect my fellow villagers from harm, I was observing your conflict from afar, even before the sandstorm started. And now that you have set foot within our village itself, it is all the more my responsibility to make absolutely sure that you pose no threat whatsoever to us. So please, have an honest and sincere conversation with one another, and put your hostile feelings to rest. If anyone dares to start anything again while they are under this roof, I will not hesitate to send them out for some quality time with the creatures of the sandstorm.
Oh, on second thought, Paimon may have misjudged Candace's character.
And that goes for you too, Miss Dia. Do I make myself clear?
All right, we got it, Candace.
That's what I like to hear. So, which of you will begin?
I was supposed to be a mediator, but I might have gotten a little too involved just now. Anyway, one of those two should probably start talking.
Wait, that was you trying to be a mediator?
I have nothing to hide, so there's no shame in explaining myself. While Alhaitham wasn't wrong about the other Matra not knowing my whereabouts, it's not because I've been assigned a morally dubious mission. Rather, I've chosen to exile myself.
Huh? Exile yourself?
A little while ago, I discovered that there was data missing in the Academia's project planning and development files. As General Mahamatra, I had the responsibility and authority to request an audit. I tried to investigate the issue myself before submitting a formal audit request. But I soon found that all leads and potential pieces of incriminating evidence were carefully concealed from me. I began to realize that they were cautious of me from the very beginning. Unsurprisingly, the Grand Sage rejected my audit request as soon as the submission reached his desk. He even said to me, "The power of the General Mahamatra is granted by the sages. You have no right to judge us."
So they really are up to no good.
I realized then that to the Grand Sage, the Matra are nothing more than tools for the sages to assert and maintain their control over knowledge. The vows that we took, the principles that we strive to uphold, they are meaningless to the academia of today. I believed it would be wise to flee the academia before the sages had a chance to take action against me. I will never give up on this investigation. There's no need for someone else to give me power or authority.
Sino seems to have the same goal as us. We're all investigating the sages. Plus, now that he's no longer the General Mahamatra, he somehow feels a lot less scary. Well, Sino, if that's your story, then why did you see Alhaitham as a target?
When I was investigating the matter in the academia, I overheard a conversation between Alhaitham and a sage. The sages asked you to investigate a blonde-haired traveler. Do you dispute this, Alhaitham?
What?
Like many parts of the project, this assignment was undocumented. Now throw in your suspicious behavior with the Divine Knowledge Capsule, and I think we deserve an explanation.
Yes. I was indeed tasked with investigating the Traveler.
Alhaitham!
After all, the promised reward was so great that hardly any scholar could have refused. The sage told me, once you've completed this assignment, I can give you a glimpse of divine knowledge.
A most enticing offer.
Unfortunately, those academics don't know me at all. Their words contained one key piece of information, namely that divine knowledge indeed exists. That gave me all I needed to know. From my perspective, the sages are far from trustworthy. Think about it. Isn't it a little strange they're so willing to share divine knowledge with anyone, even as a reward? So, I began my own investigation following the lead of the Divine Knowledge Capsule. Had I been less guarded, I probably would have ended up like that Ainul Ahmar mercenary, incapable of remaining sane for long enough to hold a conversation.
You mean that the sages originally planned to dispose of you, using one of those capsules that drive people insane?
I'd already given up on the assignment by then. I only told the Academia I was waiting in Port Ormos for you to appear so they wouldn't suspect anything. So it came as quite a surprise when I encountered my erstwhile target while investigating the Divine Knowledge Capsule.
Criminals do love to talk about coincidences.
Even though I ran into the Traveler by chance, I had no intention of providing assistance to the Academia. Also, you should remember, you were the ones who decided to follow me and strike up a conversation after I left that tavern.
That's true. Alhaitham helped us out at Caravan Rebat as well. Maybe he's telling the truth.
I'm willing to apologize, if that's worth anything to you. I took the Divine Knowledge Capsule behind your back because I judged its existence to be a significant risk. After all, curiosity often proves to be the most dangerous thing in this land.
You should be well aware, Scribe Alhaitham, that curiosity can also lead you to danger and suspicion. Answer me this. Did the sages share any information about their project with you?
Have I not made myself clear? You and I are both distrusted by the academia. Do you really think they would tell me anything?
Fine. Although you haven't completely proven your innocence, I won't regard you as an enemy, for now.
As you wish.
Good. I'm glad to see you two clearing up your misunderstandings. And now you, Dia. I believe it's your turn.
Oh, sorry. Whatever the boys were talking about must have been so boring that I spaced out. My situation is pretty straightforward. My employer, Dunyarzad of the Homayani family, is friends with the Traveler and is currently recovering from her illness at home. I had nothing going on, so I decided to return to Aru village for a visit. I was actually looking forward to a pretty exciting time getting back together with everyone here. But then I saw these two random guys in the middle of a pointless argument. It ticked me off, and things went downhill from there.
Is that all? Well, I will admit that definitely sounds like your style.
That's more like it. I missed you all so much, Candace.
Whoa! What was that sound?
No need to worry. Now that you're no longer at each other's throats, please make yourselves at home.
Creatures? In the sandstorm? Are you sure you don't want some backup?
Fighting in a sandstorm is not for the faint-hearted. Anyone without extensive training in these conditions is at a disadvantage.
Yeah, just leave him to Candace. Don't worry, she's as tough as they come.
What's this?
Here comes another wave! When are they ever gonna let up? The creatures stopped appearing.
What we fought just now was probably the aftermath of the sandstorm.
Well fought, everyone. No injuries, I hope.
Huh? Who are you?
Ah, my apologies. I haven't had a chance to greet you yet. I had my hands full taking care of the village's elderly and children. I am the chief of Aru village. Everyone usually calls me Uncle Anpu.
Sir, I am also originally from the desert, but I have not been back for some time now. May I ask if such sandstorms are common?
I can't say they've always been common, but recently the storms have become increasingly severe. Besides sandstorms, we also occasionally get earthquakes. According to an investigator who stayed in the village a while ago, these unusual natural phenomena are related to the withering of Irminsul.
Another effect of Irminsul's withering. So, Irminsul's withering causes withering zones in the forest, and sandstorm—
Everything in the natural world is inextricably connected to Irminsul.
Everyone in Aru village needs to take good care of themselves. Speaking of which, why haven't I seen a single village keeper since I got here?
Village keeper? Who are they? Village guards like Candace?
Does your curiosity know no bounds? Village Keeper is how Aru village refers to mad scholars exiled here by the academia. Most of them are scholars who lost their sanity. The academia believes that their crazed mutterings may have a negative effect on the psyches of other scholars.
Alas, that's exactly what we've been trying to investigate, but no one in the village has ever seen them leave. If you're planning to stay around the village for the next few days, I'd appreciate it if you could keep an eye out for them.
I've had encounters with those people in the past. I'll see what I can do to help.
The Magi are the ones responsible for their exile. Now that you're no longer with them, are you trying to alleviate your guilt and atone for your past sins? I'm fascinated by how you think.
Mock me if you will, but if you are guilty, I will eliminate you.
Oh, you're the former General Mahamatra. You must be an expert in these kinds of investigations.
Is it because you're reminded of Hypatia? Oh, these poor scholars. First they lose their sanity, now this! We need to help get them back home, safe and sound. But, is it really a good idea to tag along with Sino?
I'll be grateful for the assistance. No doubt you will do a better job than some of my former subordinates. Let's start by finding a spot to share what we know so far. Although I've sent myself into exile, I'm still doing essentially the same things as before.
Excuse me, are you here to help me find my grandpa? Huh? Who are you?
By the sounds of it, a resident of this village.
My name is Isak. You'll help me find my grandpa, right?
Is your grandpa a mad scholar?
Hey, don't say that. Grandpa is just Grandpa. Why do you have to call him that? It's not like he's a bad person or anything.
The person you're referring to is not a local, yet you are. Why do you call him Grandpa?
Grandpa is just Grandpa. He's my family. I heard everything you said to the village chief. Please, you gotta take me with you.
So you're the one who was eavesdropping on us around the village chief's house. I was planning to go out and take care of whoever it was, but I had a vague feeling that they didn't harbor any ill intent.
Whoa. Hatham wasn't kidding about Matra having sharp senses. Sorry. I was only listening in because I wanted to know where Grandpa went.
All right. But first, let's confirm the facts with Candace.
Let's go find your grandpa! Really? Wow! Thank you so much! Yeah!
All right. Let's ask the local residents some questions first. Where is this radical person you talked about?
I haven't run into him over the past few days, so he probably hasn't been around the village. What about you, man? Have you seen him at all?
No, not at all. We wouldn't dare lie to you. He's really not here right now.
Sounds like you're not too close with the radicals.
No, of course not. All we know are their names.
I have many ways to stop you from talking. And many others to stop you from sending warning messages. So you'd best just stay home and hope I don't hear of you trying to contact anybody. Don't do anything until I've gotten to the bottom of this.
Yes, got it. We'll do just as you say.
That scared Paimon half to death. Sino is pretty terrifying. Well, here we are again.
Sounds like you're starting to get familiar with the area.
Paimon's amazed every time we see the wall of Samiel. How can a wall this tall even exist?
I know what you mean. I had the same question every time I walked this way when I was a kid. Also, why is this high wall here? And can a wall really block sandstorms? It was only after I grew up that I realized the wall of Samiel isn't just there to keep out the sandstorms. Sumeru is run by wise and mighty sages. To them, us desert dwellers are nothing but tools that can be used and discarded at their whim. Are we there yet?
Yep, this is the place.
This place is practically deserted. What are they doing in a place like this?
Why don't you take a guess? Go on.
Oh no! It's an ambush!
What's this all about, Zaki?
Come on, Dia. You really think we didn't hear about what you said back in Aru village?
The boys have kept a close eye on you from the moment you set foot there. Not only do I know that you're looking for Delavar, I also know that you've teamed up with people from the Academia to look for the missing scholars.
So, you've been watching us from the very beginning?
Uh-oh. Paimon knew leaving Sino behind was a mistake.
And you left the strongest one in the village, didn't you? Who do you think you are? You really thought...
So you and Delavar have been partners all along.
Dia, I guess it's only natural for a traveling mercenary like you to be out of the loop. Those of us who hang around the tavern have stronger bonds than you think. But you got one thing right. We're all looking forward to an uprising in Sumeru.
If that's the case, then I'm sure Delavar wouldn't miss a second of it.
I'll be honest with you. If it weren't for what you said in the village, your little monologue about the Wall of Samiel would have convinced me that you're one of us.
Delavar. And Enger, you're here too, huh?
Long time no see, Miss Mercenary. You should have known the traitors are what us followers of King Deshret despise the most.
Dia, I thought that you, a fellow desert dweller, would understand why King Deshret is greater than the Dendro Archon.
Yeah, gee, what a missed opportunity. Adopting radical views and kidnapping innocent scholars.
See? There you have it. Mercenaries are just a bunch of faithless scum with only one thing on their minds. Mora.
You're not wrong. Mercenaries are driven by Mora, and my faith lies with whoever's paying me.
Enough talking! Get him!
Just as I expected. Let's teach him a lesson, traveler.
A new punch. Freeze!
Nice spike!
Take my lead.
Impossible! Yeah, how could you?
So, what do you think about your meticulous network now, Zaki? I'm guessing your informant told you that I'm just an incompetent merc with no real fighting skills. And of course, you would believe everything he reported. The only thing you know about me is that I'm a mercenary. Even though you heard we went to handle monsters together, you believed that Candace was the only one doing all the real fighting. That so-called Flame Mane is just a fraud. She admitted it herself. She just uses her connections to gain the trust of others. That's what you thought, right?
You lied in the village because you figured that we'd have people watching you.
And you were stupid enough to fall for it. I figured as much the first time we drank together. You all thought you were so smart. Pathetic. Okay, that should be all of them.
Let's get some food in us and then we'll... Whoa! Where did you come from?
Well, as you can see, I am merely sitting here and reviewing what we have deduced thus far.
You were gone for ages! And now you're suddenly sitting here musing to yourself? Where have you been anyway? Hey, what's with the silence?
You never think things through before asking questions. I'm giving you some time to make up for that.
Paimon's so mad! Paimon's gonna give you an ugly nickname! There's just nothing super obvious to pick with this guy. It makes it so hard.
Well, you've heard nothing to suggest I left this whole time. So clearly, I stayed in the village to investigate. Anyway, you plan to leave Aru village and keep searching for the truth of this matter, yes?
Yep. We're not gonna find out anything more by staying here. Enough with the silent treatment!
No. I'm just surprised that you decided to team up with him.
All Hatham. You haven't helped us out at all ever since we arrived at Aru village. Bold of you to question our choices.
Yeah, you're all talk.
While you were investigating, I had my own work to do, which I've now finished.
Really? Paimon doesn't believe you.
To be honest, we aren't really a team. so I have no obligation to inform you of my whereabouts. Not to mention that going separate ways allowed me to find some important information that you all had missed.
Huh? Right here in the village?
Correct.
What did you learn?
I'm going to take you to someone. But before that, you need to understand where she's coming from.
What does that mean?
How do you think the residents of Aru Village feel about what we're doing? In other words, do you truly believe every single word the villagers tell us?
You mean some of them lied to us?
Hiding the truth does not necessarily equate to lying. Again, these people have their reasons. Remember what Candace said? Most people in Aru Village don't necessarily care which deity is in charge of Sumeru. By contrast, the perils of their daily lives are ever-present concerns. They won't simply share everything they know with you without good reason. Glad you're following along. Among those you have talked to, there's someone who was consciously keeping you out of the loop. In fact, she's been observing your every move since you arrived. The reason being, to someone who only wants to live their life in peace, any external factors introduce unpredictability into the equation.
Those eyes, those fierce eyes. You look like a real fighter.
Don't change the subject.
It's quite obvious that she's intimidated by Sino's authority and strength.
Right. You were asking about the mad scholars.
She corrected herself mid-sentence because she's aware that there are King Deshret fanatics in the village.
If she sounds too friendly towards the village keepers, she could easily make herself the radicals' next target.
I think it's been a few days since I last saw them. I usually go to bed pretty early, so I'm not too familiar with what goes on at night.
Remember? She made a point of denying her involvement in anything that occurs at night.
But honestly, I feel quite sympathetic towards them, even though they act a little strange.
After speaking to the village chief, it became clear that the village keepers had protected Aru Village at night.
Then why would she lie?
By getting involved with an outsider, she risks drawing unwanted attention to herself.
I'll pass on this one. You said that she is afraid of me. If so, it's best if I stay out of this.
We're on it!
Miss Shawnee, as we discussed earlier, I've brought someone with me.
Mr. Alhaitham, I'm aware of where you stand, but how can I make sure that your friends think the same as you?
Huh? What do you mean? We need—
Go ahead and talk to her. You'll get the answers you want. Go on. Earn her trust.
Is it really that simple?
May I call you Traveler? Hi, Traveler. I want to ask you something. Do you think the resurrection of King Deshret can truly change Sumeru for the better? Why's that? That's very similar to what Miss Candace says. I know you two are friends. Before, I wouldn't even have the courage to ask something like this. Traveler, do you believe our lives will get better?
Yeah! We came here from another nation, so it isn't wrong of you to be weary. But even so, we've met lots of people from different places, and we've always fought for what we believed in. We have friends in Sumeru, and we want to help them.
I want to trust you. My apologies for posing my questions like that. To be honest, I didn't expect you to come back for more information.
Alhaitham told us you have your reasons. It's okay. We understand.
The fact is that only one side of my family is desert folk. I don't really fit in anywhere in Sumeru. Some believe in the Dendro Archon, while others believe in King Deshret.
Speaking of which, the radicals mentioned that they despise traitors. Do they just think that anyone who's different from them is a traitor?
Yeah. Some people can be so narrow-minded when it comes to bloodline and beliefs. Slowly, I just stopped talking to people. I pretended not to hear or see anything.
And then it happened. The village keepers who had helped me disappeared with no explanation, and I didn't dare breathe a word about it to anyone. Until now.
You can tell them. I'm sure he'll keep your secret.
All right. I'll tell you what I told Alhaitham. I actually have a sharper sense of hearing than most. Sometimes, I hear strange crying sounds in the night.
There are ghosts?
Perhaps. I'm not sure. It's faint, but it's definitely the sound of crying. It used to be louder and more frequent. But ever since you arrived in the village, it doesn't seem to happen as often.
I confirmed this with the guards on night duty. They also have someone with a good ear, and he's heard similar sounds at night. But, because we're in the middle of a desert, he would rather believe that they are the cries of beasts than ghosts.
There's really nothing around these parts, except for an old hospital not far from the village.
I think they used to use it for treating Elazar, but it's been abandoned for years.
Yeah, let's go!
Oz, reveal thyself!
They were easier to get, He looks super serious. We gotta stay on our A game too.
This is the one. Let's go in and take a look.
Hey, Alhaitham, we haven't found squat. Are you sure we aren't wasting our time here? Paimon's getting so sleepy. Huh? What was that sound?
There it is. It's coming from that direction.
Is the sound coming from here? Huh. Paimon's not seeing anything.
It's from below.
But there's no way we can get down there.
Something is off about the interior here. As I thought, there's a hidden structure.
Wow. It's like they tucked another hospital into this one. Oh, it looks like there are other mechanisms around here. Let's keep exploring.
Like a lamb to the slaughter.
By royal
Frostbite. Dodge this. Freeze. Cool it.
Look, there's someone over there. Good idea. Let's approach him slowly without alarming him.
Wait. You're...
He can't speak, and his eyes are unfocused. But he looks too young to be anyone's grandfather. Also, why is he the only one here?
Didn't expect to see him here.
You know him?
He's Razak, a senior of mine at the Academia.
He's a scholar too? Is he the kind that holes up in a forest and mumbles stuff about training?
No. And that's the problem. Razak was never involved in any of those things. He never trained in the forest, let alone reach Satyavada life. Leaving that question aside for the moment, him being here alone means that we might be too late. Looks like they've already taken everyone away. For whatever reason, they left Razak here. Perhaps they simply didn't have time to come back for him. There are drag marks on the ground. They're clearer by the doorway. Someone was forcefully drawing a cart that was loaded with something heavy.
Loaded with people?
That is one possibility. It looks like they were in a hurry, as if they were afraid of being caught. The symptoms are identical. Looks like we found living proof.
Huh? Why do you say that?
Allow me to jog your memory. Recall your time at Port Ormos. Don't you think his symptoms look familiar?
Oh, now that you mention it, they're acting the same way.
Correct. The Academia is behind all of this. It isn't difficult to deduce their rationale.
First, the Academia spread a false rumor of King Deshret's resurrection,
emphasizing the role of the village keepers, the mad scholars who were exiled to Aru village. These rumors were all the persuasion that the radicals needed, and those based in Aru village leapt into action. Unbeknownst to them, of course, through rounding up the scholars, they were actually helping the Academia. He won't last long if we leave him here. Let's take him with us. We'll work out our next step after we return to Aru village.
We're back!
You must be tired. You should rest and take some water.
What's the situation?
Who's this?
Unfortunately, somebody who's too young to take on the role of Isak's grandfather. Nevertheless, he's one of the people we're trying to find.
If the Academia is trying to avoid Sino, then the safest place would be... Yep, that's right!
They'll want to proceed in the direction opposite of where I'm going. I must go.
There's also something I want to investigate.
Let's go, guys! After him! So, where do we go from here?
Yes. After leaving the village, we should head straight toward the desert.
I know the desert like the back of my hand. Is that because you play here a lot? Yep. One time, Grandpa almost got lost in the desert, but I was the one who brought him back.
There's something here. What's this?
It's buried in the sand. Looks like we'll need to roll up our sleeves and do some work.
And Paimon thought running around everywhere was already enough work. Okay.
These are likely fragments of an Academia-developed device, something akin to a headset. Looks like there were more than one village keeper. They must have been escorted this way, because there are device fragments scattered around here.
Don't get any closer. They'll notice us.
Dia's talking with the Eremites? Very interesting. Let's listen in.
If you had informed me sooner, there'd be plenty of room for us to...
You're one of us. We would never mind.
Scholars. You don't know as much as I do. Need me to...
I knew it. That's our Dia.
Dia? Why would you... Dia! Hey, what are you doing?
Huh?
Didn't you say you'd help me find Grandpa? Why are you on their side?
Well, look who's here. Ain't that something?
This complicates things.
You've betrayed Aru village?
So, this is the great General Mahamatra. Dear, you'd be better off as my assistant than hanging around with this motley crew.
I'm not the type that's easily swayed, Raman. You of all people should know that.
Wait, what's going on, Dia? Whose side are you on here?
Shut it, Paimon.
It doesn't matter. Whichever side you pick, nothing can deter us from the grand mission of resurrecting King Deshret.
Face the facts, Raman. It's not gonna happen. You should understand that more than anyone. Have all your years as a merc taught you nothing about placing hopes in a ruler?
I'm a desert dweller and a proud follower of King Deshret.
It's not too late yet. The village mad scholars aren't gonna bring King Deshret back to life.
You don't understand, my dear lady. Pursuing our faith is our purpose in life.
Even if it'll expose you to the Academia? Even if they end up disbanding the Eremites? Your Eremites, which you've worked so hard for all these years?
Yes. We've waited a long time for this day to come. The sun and the moon no longer shine here. All you see now is cracks in this desiccated land. With these scholars in our custody, we'll stomp the Academia's forces and fight our way beyond the wall of Samiel.
Ridiculous. Think about it. The Academia controls the entirety of Sumeru. If you still don't believe me, then try asking these two men. They're also against the Academia, but neither of them are as arrogant as you are.
Do you really believe that by kidnapping the scholars, you'll be able to negotiate with the Academia? These people have no value as bargaining chips, but I could be persuaded to take their place as your next hostage. These scholars were exiled from the Academia. I, on the other hand, am their current scribe, and will be a much greater asset to you.
Wait, you can't be serious.
So, you want to trade places with the hostages, do you?
Precisely. Any wise person would gladly accept my offer.
What are you thinking? What if they decide to kill you instead?
Well, that would be bad luck for me. However, I'd get the chance to observe the scholars, perhaps even find out the truth.
Think you can talk me over with that confident look of yours?
I'm not trying to persuade you. I'm using this as a means of joining forces against the Academia.
You are the scribe. What do you have against the Academia?
Not all desert dwellers believe in King Deshret, and the same applies to the Academia. Why must all knowledge seekers approve of the Academia's way of doing things?
You Academia scum. Every last one of you is nothing but a hypocrite, just like everyone else on the other side of that wall.
Not so fast. I'll hate them. Do you stand by everything you just said?
I never make empty promises.
You know you're making a dangerous decision, right?
I do.
Good. Raman, hear me out. These people are my friends. Maybe you can't take the followers of the Dendro Archon at their word, but what about me? Do you trust me?
We've known each other for years. Of course I do.
In that case, I'm willing to vouch for their honesty with my right arm. Come on, Raman, don't be a coward. If you're serious about taking on the Academia, you need to steel yourself. You can't be afraid.
An arm from the Flame Mane. You've piqued my interest. But what if you refuse to oblige? What should I do then? No one's a fool here, Dia. We're mercs.
You're not wrong, but this is different. I promised my friends that we'd bring back the village keepers together.
Let's do it right here then. Give me your right arm as proof of your resolve.
Don't listen to him! He's not even trying to negotiate! He just wants to make things more difficult!
That's fine.
Are you crazy?
We came here to save lives. One arm for that many people is still a pretty good deal, if you ask me. Raman, I'm holding up my end of the deal here. You'd better not let me down.
Sure. Go ahead and cut off her right arm.
No! Dia! What are you gonna do? Think of something!
You don't have to go this far.
That's not for you to decide.
Do it! Stop!
What's wrong? Can't do it?
Flame Mane, you and I are both desert folk. Cutting off your arm is no different than cutting off my own fingers. Where's the sense in cutting my own kin to pieces? You've shown me that you're serious. Go on now, take your friends and leave. Meet me in the desert at noon tomorrow. Is everything ready?
Absolutely. Although, you brought fewer people than I imagined.
Bring him over.
Grandpa! Why is there only one of them?
Raman, I've always thought of you as a man of his word. What's this about?
It's a one-for-one exchange. Sounds fair, don't you think? And let me put it this way. Agreeing to any kind of deal with the Dendro Archon's people is already a huge compromise on my part.
You stay right there!
What do you think you're doing?
Grandpa!
Don't you see this blade here?
You coward! Why are your hands shaking?
Wait a second! It's a earthquake!
Paimon's dizzy.
This day's going just great.
What a nuisance.
The sand dune collapsed. I saw an energy field. The village keeper protected us. It glowed green with dendro. Just like you said, it may well have been the remains of Lesser Lord Kusanali's power inside the scholar's body. The Dendro Archon. The present one.
Grandpa? Grandpa? Oh no. He's getting confused again.
Hey, look around you.
Did there used to be a temple here?
It seems that when the sand dune collapsed, it exposed these underground structures. The symbols on the gate belong to King Deshret's civilization. This structure must be ancient. Over time, the sandstorms completely buried it and left it in the state we see now. It could have been an underground palace in the distant past.
Oh, a miracle. Praise King Deshret!
What's he doing here? And his men too?
They must have fallen down here with us. Pretty lucky if you ask me. Most of them seem in really bad shape. Except for him. He got off lightly.
Mind your head.
No, this isn't the time for conflict. Our exalted lord has shown us the way to his sacred palace.
He's not actually gonna go in there, is he?
As it happens, I want to take a look inside too.
What are you doing?
Don't you think it's curious? 1 minute, Lesser Lord Kusanali's power protects us from harm, and the next, remnants of King Deshret's civilization appear. 2 major deities are vying to showcase their power to us. It would be a shame not to witness them both.
Paimon thought you weren't interested in gods.
Indeed. In my view, gods are just a higher form of living being. Or creature, you could say. New discoveries are always worth investigating. Whether they have anything to do with gods is neither here nor there.
Raman, what are you gonna do about your men?
I'll just let them lay here. King Deshret will take care of his people. Right now, I'm going inside.
It's full of life here. This defies comprehension. It looked...
Yeah! And there's so many plants. It's so pretty!
Sir Raman.
Huh? Me?
Do you see another Raman here?
Are you mocking me? What do you mean, sir?
Interpret it however you want. But there's something I'd like to draw your attention to. While this structure is clearly left over from King Deshret's civilization, the energy that flows in here is that of the Dendro Archon.
Whatever you say. It's not like I have a vision.
There's nothing to be angry about. Think of this as an academic journey.
It does seem kinda strange. If that's true, then we might have to explore this whole area to find an explanation.
What's the hurry? Cool it!
By royal decree!
Freeze!
Eat this!
What's the hurry? What's the hurry? Dodge this!
Nice and spicy!
Cool it!
No rest for the wicked.
Boba, get them! By royal decree!
Freeze! Don't waste your luck. Dodge this! Freeze! Frostbite!
Midnight Phantasmagoria!
Don't miss your luck.
I summon! How the Forest Ranger. Forever.
Now that's a sight to see. King Deshret's splendor surrounds us.
There's so much vegetation here. It's different than what I expected.
Sure are a lot of plants for a desert.
That's what I call divine providence of King Deshret.
It's getting brighter!
Wait. What's that?
A load of flowers. And it looks like there's something among them.
These are King Deshret runes.
They left something behind. Yes. It's an elegy written in an ancient script.
What does it say?
Here lies our faithful priest Kasala. His wisdom is a miracle among the people, deserving of high praise and admiration.
You can read ancient King Deshret script?
Of course. Every student needs to master at least 20 languages before they graduate.
He's not serious, right?
There's still something off about this place. The elemental energy here is too concentrated. The scent of life. Is it trying to tell us something?
Is this it?
Analyzing.
There seems to be a hidden message. Excellent. There's a device from King Deshret's civilization in this gravesite. I'll transmit the information over and project it for everyone to see.
Isn't sharing knowledge against the Academia's rules?
Yes. However, under the circumstances, I'd prefer you to see this for yourself. You'll understand after watching it.
Civilization is born of knowledge, but so too can knowledge be its demise. A disaster caught us unaware. It was knowledge that did not belong to this world. King Deshret brought this forbidden knowledge into our world, and it quickly spread like a plague. People's minds were filled with crazed whispers. Dark gray scales spread across their bodies. Even the land was stripped of its vigor. Only a desperate, deathly silence remained. Were it not for greater Lord Ruka Devata from the forests, the damage would have been irreversible. She summoned the priests to build temples and infused into them the divine power of life. The disaster was miraculously tempered, and the embers of our civilization were preserved in Aru village. Alas, the miracle could not last. As long as forbidden knowledge continued to exist, it would forever blight this world. In the end, the proud king of the desert, my eternal lord, chose to sacrifice himself. I have spent my whole life since guarding one of these many temples. But now, my duty is coming to an end. As I close my eyes for the final time, the sight of that noble deity will appear in my vision once more. In helping King Deshret to eradicate forbidden knowledge, she exhausted her strength, and her form became that of a small child. How strange. Now that I think of her, I no longer have any fear of death, for I sense that the spirit of life will abide with me during my eternal sleep. Children of the desert, cling no longer to past grievances, but hold tight to the memory of this act of benevolence.
So the former Dendro Archon and King Deshret were never enemies at all.
How could I ever begin to accept this? The truth is so far from what I've always known. Am I really supposed to believe that after all these years, all this time seeking revenge, suddenly now my enemy is my savior?
Rahman, that's enough. Give it a rest. You're starting to make a fool of yourself.
Dia, tell me, my Aramites and I, what are we even fighting for?
Hey, how you doing?
I'll live. Thanks. I should probably go. Can't just stay here forever.
What's your next move gonna be?
Oh, I know what you're going to ask. I feel deeply ashamed of everything, but please, give me some time. After everything that's happened here today, somehow I need to explain it to the others.
It's not gonna be easy.
Well, I guess that's for me to deal with. This is where our camp's located. Make a note of it.
When would be a good time for us to go?
Tomorrow. I'll convince everyone that we're all on the same side. And I'll return every last one of your your village keepers. We'll share our other resources with you too.
You seem to finally understand that our true enemy is the sages.
Yes. The gods never gave up on anyone. It's the people responsible for all this that need to face the consequences of their actions.
That must have been rough. But he seems to have figured things out now.
Ramon's no fool. Being the leader of your own faction in the desert is no easy feat. It's too bad he was held back by his belief in King Deshret. But now that that's changed, I guess we have a few more people on our side.
The outcome, at least, is favorable.
We should get going too. Let's head back, have a proper meal, and a nice, long sleep. We'll need all our energy tomorrow.
Ramon, we're here.
Everything's been arranged. Someone will bring the village keepers back to Aru village shortly.
I guess all I can say now is thanks for agreeing to help.
Don't mention it. I think we can both agree you went to hell and back for it. But we share a common cause now. From here on out, we're allies.
Where are the perpetrators?
I'll bring you to them. Follow me.
So these are the people who kidnapped the village keepers.
Oh no, it's the scribe!
There's no need to yell. No one can help you now.
We've been all over the desert trying to find you!
The Academia is working on an important and potentially world-changing project. They are creating a new god. A god that will belong to them and to the people of Sumeru. It may seem as if Sumeru's academics are thriving, but ever since the death of Greater Lord Rukkhadevata, scholarly breakthroughs have been few and far between. The withering of Irminsul has been getting worse recently. The sages have tried everything they could think of, but nothing's worked. I'm always hearing them say things like, if only Greater Lord Rukkhadevata was still with us.
Continue.
And then, someone from the Fatui showed up. They called him the Doctor. He brought a gnosis and said he wanted to borrow the Academia's research facilities. The Doctor was previously expelled from the Academia. At first, the sages looked down at him in disdain. But when he said those words, everyone's expression changed. He asked them, "Do you wish to create a god?"
This is what the arrogant ignorance at the extreme end of academia looks like.
First, the Academia spent a long time constructing a divine vessel, which was based on an exquisite humanoid puppet. After that, they harvested dreams via the Zeb-Zerus Festival Samsara, maximizing the Akasha's output. With the Doctor's help, and the Akasha now functioning at maximum efficiency, they were able to use it to extract the power from the Gnosis and convert it into a divine core. Next, they decided that their new god needed to possess divine wisdom. For that to happen, they needed a huge quantity of divine canned knowledge.
It adds up.
But how do you determine whether the knowledge extracted is of divine origin?
Call it an educated guess? The Academia has been trying to figure out the exact source of the Scholar's madness for centuries, but
to no avail. Nobody can explain the cause of this phenomenon. Surely you can see what that implies, Scribe Alhaitham. If it's knowledge no mortal can comprehend, then it must be something only gods are able to decipher. In other words, it's the source of the God of Wisdom's omniscience and omnipotence.
You must have noticed by now. The Academia doesn't care about who their god is. It's the ability to exercise control over knowledge and wisdom that matters. It is as if they are cursed with a desire for omniscience and omnipotence that burns in their blood. Some organisms demonstrate phototaxis, and thus orient their entire lives in respect to sources of light. For the sages, their only source of hope is the existence of a deity who embodies the acme of wisdom. This is but a form of phototaxis. For many scholars, the absence of a god of wisdom means stumbling in the darkness for the duration of their lives.
Then what does Lesser Lord Kusanali mean to you? Is she not a true god present in this world? If you already have a new god, why try to create another one?
From the beginning, the Academia has never treated her as a god. When the Academia first discovered Lesser Lord Kusanali, the newborn god of wisdom, the sages hoped that she would be as wise as Greater Lord Rukkhadevata. But upon evaluation, they found that at the time she possessed no more intelligence than any ordinary human child. The sages never had a ruder awakening. This forced them to accept that Greater Lord Rukkhadevata had indeed passed away. Not to mention that Lesser Lord Kusanali's gnosis has been used to power the Akasha this entire time. Slowly but surely, people began to forget about her existence.
So, this is the path the sages have chosen.
All right, let's try to keep our cool. If everyone's in a bad mood, then let's change up our scenery. Rahman, give me a few men to help us escort the village keepers back to the village. And these two scholars, they're coming too.
Sure, as you wish.
The village keepers you found have all been returned to their homes, and each one has a dedicated caregiver to look after them.
The atmosphere is so heavy. Hey! Say something! Stop spacing out!
Come on, is there nothing left to talk about? In that case, let's all get some water and try to think about something else.
Or I can go fetch some snacks.
Oh! Paimon's so coming with you!
Do you have any plans, traveler?
Gods above, you're not talking about work, are you?
So you were still withholding some information?
Even though we lived through all of this firsthand, it still feels super surreal to hear you talk about it again.
What a whirlwind of a story. I felt like I was holding my breath the whole time.
It seems like there'll be more issues to face in the days ahead than I had anticipated.
Still, now's a good time to make our next move. Now that Rahman's joined us, we'll be an even stronger team.
It's time to make a plan.
Indeed. These events are a flagrant transgression of the rules in every sense. We cannot allow it to continue.
So, everyone, are we on the same page?
Crush the sages and rescue our god. That is our ultimate goal.
Well, Let's brainstorm a little more about what other resources we can draw on.
The next time we gather here, we must have a solid plan.
Yep, it'll work out for sure.
Bine, fraților, am terminat actul 3 și 4, back-to-back, în jur de 2 ore este acest video, 2 ore și un pic. Fiecare act are cam 4 ore de joc, dacă mergi repede. Eu, în cazul meu, a durat mai mult, pentru că nu am vrut să ciumpăvesc dialogul. Acolo unde am tăiat mai mult, am pus explicații de text. Am văzut că Nahida a fost capturată de acest creatură mecanică, baladier, baladierul fiind un personaj misterios care cred că a luat sau a furat gnosisul Electro din Inazuma. Trebuie să văd video acela unde la sfârșitul Archon Quest-ului ne întâlnim cu Iai Mico și ea ne zice a venit cineva și l-a luat. Și să văd dacă menționează numele baladierului. Cred că doar a zis că un fatui agent a venit și l-a luat. Mă rog, s-a părut destul de ciudat, dar într-adevăr acel gnosis va fi folosit în contrapția asta mecanică, acel nou zeu, god, Archon al zonei Sumeru, așa cum vrea orice de la Academia și bineînțeles cei doi fatui, baladierul și Dotore. I-am văzut pe amândoi în aceste 2 acte jucate aici. Ne-am întâlnit și cu personaje noi, ne-am întâlnit și cu Archon din nou, ne-am întâlnit și cu Sino, Dia și aici undeva e și Candace în spate. Oamenii ai Deshertului, majoritatea lor. Ne-am făcut și niște prieteni eremiți, un grup de mercenari foarte puternic, care sunt de partea noastră acum, deși tot jocul au fost împotrivă și, mă rog, ați văzut povestea cum s-a petrecut. Acum ce să zic e că vreau să încep actul 5, un act foarte, foarte important. Bănuiesc că o să ne întâlnim din nou cu Dotore și cu baladierul și cu Nahida, să vedem dacă putem să o scăpăm pe Nahida din ghearele lor și să rezolvăm acest Archon Quest. Dar actul 5 este, din câte mi-am aminte, este cel mai spectaculos dintre toate până acum. O să mă duc imediat după ce încheie acest video să mai fac niște farming, să mai iau un break de la vorba aia pe care a trebuit să fiu atent, să o văd și să văd, să pregătesc cele 4 caractere principale pentru Ascension-ul, pentru că suntem la 35, cred că ar fi cazul să mai urcăm un pic, așa la un 40 n-ar strica. Să nu vreau să-mi fac viața foarte grea. Mie îmi place să merg repede, să omor creaturile destul de repede. Deocamdată nu sunt avid după artefacte, ci vreau să facem împreună Archon Quest-urile, să terminăm Sumeru și să ne ducem în Fontaine repede. Mă gândeam astăzi dacă să fac skip complet la Fontaine și să merg direct în Atlan, pentru că este mult mai interesant. O să văd dacă o să iau această decizie sau nu. Însă urmează actul 5, următorul video, partea 19-a. Și cu asta vă urez noapte bună. Mulțumesc că v-ați uitat la acest video până la capăt. Ne vedem mâine.